All right. Thank you, and everyone who comes and listens to the Internet of Value Foundation, episode 73. And for all of those who come in the future and listen to this information, I hope you all find it as valuable as I know I do every single day in here. And even 50 to hundreds of years in the future, I find this information may still be as valuable as it is today, if not more. So I really do appreciate it for all of the diverse amount of mindsets and perspectives that come in here. I can't thank you guys enough. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I just got home from work. I'm also going to send some invites out to some more people, see if we can get some more people in here. Feel free if anybody wants to come up and speak about any of the topics above or any questions you guys might have already about anything distributed ledger technology. And I will get started in a couple minutes, start going over all the topics above. Fat, what's up, man?
What's up, Death Ranger?
GM.
GM, how you doing?
Good. Doing well, man. I cooking at the same time as sending invites out.
Nice.
And getting ready to talk about some hooks and some Evernote today. So hopefully you're sticking around.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I see you have AI, Quantum, XRPL, Evernote, hooks, and sidechain. Full house.
Full house. I actually can't help myself for some reason. I mean to not put AI and quantum in every single title, but it's just I don't know, something speaks to me and it's like, no, just throw it up there. Just throw it up there, just in case.
Yeah, it's good because that is what keeps Shellfish in. Gotta cater towards everybody. Yeah, it's good.
There you go.
Ah, there she is.
I literally was gonna say that. That's what keeps me back every week.
How you doing, Shelly?
I'm doing really well, thanks, Fet. I'm super excited. I got my shroom. What is it called? The
Shroom Pepin.
shroom pet.
Cool.
Shroom Pedin.
Shroom Pepin.
So is this on? I saw you were saying earlier. This is on multiple chains, or
Yeah, so there's an I lost track of it after a couple, I think, weeks or so when it launched, but it launched, I think it must have been 4 or 5 months ago, on ETH, by actually a very famous IRL artist named Jack Butcher. And he's also into Web3, and he's doing digital art. And yeah, he created like this open edition mints, which means basically it's the same NFT. It's the exact same NFT, but minted, let's say 1,000 times, 10,000 times, or just open in a range. Basically, you could say, hey, this mint is going to be open for 5 hours, and however many mints going to be minted, or NFTs going to be minted, that's it. And they all look the same. And they looked in the beginning completely different. They looked very, very weird. They didn't look like the profile picture I have right now. They looked just completely different with lots of squares and stuff like this. And so he has a big following because of his IRL and other charity things that he's doing. So he's big into charity, big into art and IRL stuff. And what he did with this NFT was he made it. He introduced a bunch of gamification of the NFT, and he achieved this with dynamic NFT. So all these original OPEPINs, um, they are dynamic NFTs, so they can change. And depending on what you're doing, they change. Okay, so people have like different, and sometimes he's changing it for the people. Like if there's a event or if there is something going on, he changes the metadata, and then folks have like a different NFT. This is very exciting for a lot of folks, and they keep them more engaged. And the most recent iteration of this whole OPEPN is the exact same shape that I have as a profile picture with these eyes and the mouthpiece and like the lower part body. It's exactly that. And yeah, this current iteration is pretty viral on ETH primarily, and OpenSea and a bunch of other folks, did like derivatives of it. They put other colors and so on. Yeah, Jebsy, maybe not too late to the party, but kind of. He created his version or his derivative of the original Pepins. He called them Shroom Pepins. Gave him credit in the description of the NFT, and yeah, so they are pretty known in the ETH space. Like as like OpenSea and a bunch of other companies in Web3 had it as their profile picture for a while, and to play into the meme. So it's actually pretty known. Yeah, so that's the Shroom version.
Oh, that's a lot of
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, as always with these NFTs.
So basically, though, it's a derivative that Jebsy has made and handed out free to
Yes.
those who hold.
Exactly. Yep.
Cool. Well, I wasn't expecting you to change your profile picture so soon, but I'm not against it.
Yeah, I like he's my favorite artist. Like Jebsy's my favorite artist. Definitely in Web3, and everything that is around shrooms and blue, I can use it as a profile picture. I feel because if it goes too far away from that, then people will say, "Oh, no blue mushroom anymore. What's going on? I don't recognize you." But I feel like this is the closest I can get, but still change my profile picture. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I would miss the blue on Yvette.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Well, I'm still just letting a couple people fill
Yeah,
in
we have
here while
we
I
have
finish.
Sarah up here. Sarah, how are you doing?
Oh, Sarah, welcome. I didn't even see that.
Hey, I'm good. How's everyone?
Doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just chilling here with my two dogs, looking forward to the space.
That's
Awesome.
great.
Sarah, could you send Chris the link if you don't mind? I actually guess I sent too many. I got rate limited.
Chris Dangerfield, yeah?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I think that Chris. That's Chris's last name, right? It's Chris D. So it makes a lot of
Chris
sense.
D, yeah, sorry. I just sent it now.
Sarah just casually doxing folks here. Just kidding. He I think he's doxed. So good.
Yeah, I think he isn't. Yeah.
He's such a cool last name, that's why I always remember it.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie there.
So Sarah,
Dangerfield.
why the
Yes.
zebra?
It's my favourite animal. That's all. I
Straightforward.
just like them. They're just cool. And it's very close to my name, so I think that's why I've always liked them.
Yeah.
Zebras are probably the feistiest types of horse that exist.
Yeah, and I like that every single one of them is unique, like the patterns on the outside. That's I don't know. I've just ever since I was little, like I love zebra print and I love leopard print and all of that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Even lions don't want to mess with zebra.
You know what's pretty rare when Shellfish has her blue check mark? Because usually she changes her profile picture so often, she never has her blue check mark. So that's actually surprising, Shelly.
I was tempted to change it to the one I minted, but I haven't. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of liking this one for right now. It's
Yeah,
a little feminine. It's kind of nice. I'm not like having mean face on at the moment.
Did you have a mean face on earlier? I wouldn't say any of your pictures had mean faces.
Maybe resting bee face. I don't know.
She has like sometimes these different up and down themes where sometimes the profile picture is a bit more not dark, but it's like, you know, it's I don't know, it's a queen or something, like a warrior, you know, sitting on a throne. Everything's dark around it. And sometimes it's like bright, it's like flowers. So yeah,
Okay, so it may be like the energy I'm feeling at the moment.
yeah,
I'm
that's
feeling
cool.
good
No,
right now. I'm
yeah,
in a good space.
that's awesome. Hope that stays up for a long time. So what did we just say? Why did I miss that? When was that? Oh, a couple days ago. Being software devs. Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about the post I just put above?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they were just talking about some of the tools coming to
Yeah,
Zum
it's awesome.
Zamen.
Zaman. Yeah.
I'm excited to see the release of the Zamen, but going into it, right, because I think Zum is an excellent entrance to the XRP ledger.
It is.
Very easy to onboard, and that being the main wallet. Although Vet, there are, if I'm not mistaken, there is a browser wallet
Correct.
that's coming through pretty soon, right?
Correct. It's called Crossmark. There are actually two. There's Crossmark, and they are all XRPL focused. So there's Crossmark, and there is Gem Wallet. Personally, um, I mean, I never try to be biased. Okay, never. I try never to be biased. But for me, it just feels better with Crossmark, like as a browser extension. I like Zum. Zum is cool, but for browser extension, I would choose right now Crossmark. I don't know if you have seen the Orchestra Finance. By the way, shout out to Orchestra Finance. Awesome friends. Really great developers doing the automated market maker platform right now, and they they utilize Crossmark. And if you look at the demos that they posted, it looks honestly literally like Uniswap, but everything is 100% XRPL. It's so great, like it's so good. And this is like something like usability is huge for it's really a big thing because on ETH usability is great. Okay, so the apps are really high quality. The UI is really high quality because they have the money and all of this to spend on it. Everything is very smooth on ETH, like from the user experience, at least from the UI. Of course, the network you can say is clunky, expensive, all that. But we lack this on the XRP ledger, and it's really awesome to have developers creating awesome stuff that you can use for your application. So yeah, Crossmark is my go-to browser extension.
Yeah, I mean the web browser is going to be huge because it's quite aggravating, and you guys on XRP Cafe have this problem solved, right?
Yeah.
But when you click on something on the screen and you have to go open that wallet,
Yes.
and then you have to open the QR code scanner, right, and then QR code scan it, and then sign the transaction. It's much easier just to get a push notification sent right to the wallet, and that's super cool. I'm excited for it.
We looked at our users at XRP Cafe. It's 70. I mean, it's not surprising. 70% of our users are exclusively XRP folks. 70% are mobile, and 30% on or 25% on desktop and 5% on iPad. If not even less on iPad or tablet, it's called. So a huge portion of people are still using, of course, mobile. And if you use mobile, Zum is perfect. But for those 25%, 30%, who use it a desktop, I think the browser extension is really great. Plus, the browser extension has some features that Zum doesn't want to have, like the bulk buying thing. So they fill out a nice niche there too, which is great. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. For the NFTs, they'll have the bulk buy and sell.
Correct. Yeah.
Also something exciting to look forward to. And so but thinking about the wallets, right? Especially, I know speaking to the creator of the Gem wallet, he's also very excited for Evernode and Hook sidechain. He, eager to be able to also integrate those existing networks into the wallet,
Yeah.
so it's easily accessible, right? Because start thinking about Evernode and Hook sidechain. Well, it's great. We have these utility use cases that are coming to act as assistants or sidechains to the existing mainnet, the XRP ledger. But how do you access the tokens that exist? I mean, this is a huge thing if you're not a
Right.
developer. So it's definitely something that I'm really
I
looking
mean,
forward to,
being
as well as integrating it.
oh yeah, like being multi-chain is going to be challenging in the sense of, you have all these different networks, all these different transactions coming in. You need to differentiate between them. There are awesome implementations right now where you can differentiate. This is a transaction coming from this chain. This is a transaction coming from this chain, like a chain identifier, which is really important. We haven't had this before because we never did run into this issue, but now we do, and now these things are implemented, which is really great. But the usability is going to be really interesting. Everything around it is going to be interesting. How it's going to be built up, but it will take time. It will definitely take time to bootstrap. Like Hook sidechain, Evernode for sure will take time to bootstrap and prove itself and see how it goes. Like it has high chances to succeed, of course, but you cannot say it's going to succeed, of course. I mean that should be very clear. But I think it has a very high chance to succeed at least, or whatever iteration of it, in the future.
Yeah, and for anybody in the audience who has any questions about anything XRP Ledger related, hooks, sidechains in general, or Hook sidechain and Evernode, please feel free to either type it at the bottom right with the little bubble, or hit the request and come up. There are no stupid questions. There's no foolish questions. If you're wondering it, somebody else out there is wondering it as well. And that being said, maybe we should delve in a little bit into what Hooks itself is, and or a sidechain, and why we're going to have the Hook sidechain, and then maybe we could speak about Evernote a little later. But going back to Hooks, so at first, on my own experience, the way that I had understood a hook to be able to properly execute on the XRP ledger was this account-based structure where you were able to enable an account to have a function attached to it, which enables a, I think, very large magnitude of ability to have a different type of transactional output that can occur on that account.
Yeah.
The original, my understanding, right, was from one execution of a signing of a transaction, you would be able to execute somewhere between four to seven. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 10 now. That
It's 10.
transactions. It's 10 transactions in one ledger close. That all that had the transactions that had the capability of the XRP ledger. So any type of transactional output could be formulated by this hook and put into that transaction. I think what it's expanded to, and I don't know if this was always the original um, outlook on it, but it really looks much more like a smart contract than we were originally anticipating. At least I was at least understanding to anticipate. And although it may not have the full smart contract capability as you would think of as an ERC or an EVM, I mean, sorry, smart contract, the functionality that the hooks, the logic flow that it will enable on the XRP ledger is very similar to a smart contract. And so, that if you want to talk about some of the different hooks that already exist, the three that have been audited, and some things that you maybe see possible with hooks in the future.
Yeah. I mean, you spoke about it. It's very, very interesting. Hooks are very interesting for sure. Why are they interesting in my opinion? Because they utilize the XRP ledger. Um, there is no EVM attached to it, so we have to be mindful. We are going a totally different route than the rest of the ecosystem, which is usually EVM, which is in my opinion also positive, because if EVM does not become the thing or the widely used, it could be multiple things, being used, of course, but if there would be an issue with EVM in the future, um, therefore you would have with hooks something that is completely different, and therefore a hedge, you could say, and it allows you to do things differently, and XRPL native. Of course, downside is you do things differently. You have to do all the learning. I mean, folks have been learning a lot about EVM smart contracts since they became available, and all this learning, the best practices, you need to do all of this again, basically, with folks. So we will see a lot of learnings, a lot of errors. We will see a lot of issues. We will see a lot of maybe exploits even. Um, but you need this, test run sort of, to figure out all of these things and establish some good practices, best practices for these smart contract or abilities. Where EVM is very mature, like right now, if you want to do something with EVM, super easy, super mature. People know what is secure, what is not secure, what you can do to a certain extent, what is experimental and whatnot. So with hooks, I'm very positive. I'm very excited exactly because of this, because it's so new and it's so completely different, and you can just start bottom up basically here and do something. Um, I think the best use cases, or most use cases, will develop around payments, probably in the beginning. Payments, automation of payments, um, savings accounts, and all of these things will be possible. Because one major issue on the XRP ledger, also on the main chain, all the software, including Ripple software, will be so awesome to have on-chain logic, but it's not possible because we cannot deploy things on the chain. So the whole software package is centralized on their end. Okay, all the logic, they utilize the XRPL for whenever they need it. Okay, so you query something, you do a transaction, and then you go back to your software, which reads it out and does something else, and all of this. So you have all these things on their end, and having this on chain, in my opinion, would not only increase security but also transparency, and everything around it. We love actually with smart contracts, even on EVM. So I think a lot of these functions, hooks functions, will at first start with payments and all of this around. I know that those folks, that they have really a lot of ambition to push into enterprises with hooks and payments. Um, they have a good or large partnership portfolio that they probably want to push their products towards. Um, and I think this is going to be, in my opinion, really exciting, with hooks and payments. Because hooks essentially really works deep in its core in the payment engine of the XRP ledger. Therefore, it makes it so dangerous as well, in that sense, but also so powerful, because it changes the rules, a lot of rules, really. This is why we see when we talk about these things on the XRP ledger, and we ask, hey, is this possible with hooks or something? Or hey, is this possible? People say, oh yeah, probably it's possible with hooks, because people imagine like everything is going to be possible with hooks, or a lot of things, because so the fallback is everything, or a lot of things are
Now,
possible.
here's an interesting question that just popped up in my head. Would every single hook that would be able to be utilized need to be voted in through an amendment?
Awesome question. Great question. Huge issue on the XRP ledger main chain is we don't have composability or programmability. Everybody, okay, who is doing stuff on the XRP ledger, everybody who knows the XRP ledger, everybody who is anybody who is doing infrastructure operations, they know the pain of the main chain. Why? Because you need everything to go through the whole process of discuss what you want to have been added to the ledger, write the code to be added to the ledger, then go through the process, and eventually, maybe, hopefully, it gets added to the ledger, layer one. While on EVM, or let's take Ethereum for example. When was the last time you hear that? Oh, we made major code changes to the ETH um, blockchain, the layer one, to accommodate for features. Really, that's not really a thing. They do all the stuff on the layer one changes for scalability. They do sharding and all of this stuff, because the layer two, where the EVM is working on, is people confuse sometimes on ETH layer. On ETH, people think the EVM, or they associate the EVM also with the smart contracts there. With layer one, and layer twos are actually Polygon and something like this. For us XRPL folks, Polygon is actually a layer three. If you so yeah, it's whatever you consider as layer two or layer one. But programmability is an issue on the XRP ledger. Everything needs to be voted in. Everything needs to be changed. It's a tedious process, painful. We just right now, just today, we crossed the 80% mark to fixes. Okay, they are fixes. Okay, they are fixes for stuff on the ledger right now, NFTs and other stuff. Fixes. Okay, no features, and it took us exactly. I looked it up. Right about 6 months. Okay, 6 months for fixes from the release of Ripple D to it being voted on, and probably 9 months or so if you consider everything what happened on GitHub before. So that's huge for fixes. This is why the automated market maker will never make it, in 2023. We will be lucky if it's going to be in Q1, 2024. Hooks provide EVM programmability. Okay, so hooks, if you create hooks, to go to your question, you don't need to have amendments for this, which is really great. You just need hooks to be enabled via an amendment, but every hook that you create will not need an amendment. Just much like every smart contract on ETH doesn't need any permission or something from anyone to be created. Which allows it all the innovation. When folks tell me, "Hey, where is innovation happening?" Innovation happens on EVM right now, because they can do all sort of things without asking anybody. I can create awesome, crazy, smart contracts, very, very fancy. Yeah, they might be exploited, whatever, but I push. Okay, I push the limits, and I can show what's possible. On the XRP ledger, you cannot be that creative. You are limited to what you have, which is also why it's so secure. Long.
Well, that was awesome.
Yeah, long answer to yeah. I don't need every hook to be amended into the ledger, and that's actually the big thing, in my opinion, for hooks.
Yeah, for sure. And I plus and minus to it, right? Just the same factor of in a smart contract. There are also those who may build hooks that have some sort of attack vector in them without realizing, without them realizing it or so. So I think that definitely will be really interesting.
I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point that you said, because hooks are not going to be by default secure. Just FYI. Yeah, there will be malicious hooks. There will be good hooks. This is why some folks are auditing their hooks, much like as you would audit any smart contract on ETH. And they push it, you would have to do the same with hooks.
It makes a lot of sense. And that's goes to the actually, I want to go back to one of the things that you did say, though, that I should have brought up earlier. Right, the biggest thinking about some of the biggest differences between an XRP ledger, right, this consensus based layer one, to a smart contract network or an EVM network, right, where EVM always acts as the layer two upon the cryptographic layer one network. It is it really is such a huge benefit, and with the added cost structure of the XRP ledger, I think makes it way more attractive than any sort, as long as developers are willing to learn the code that is already pretty much more predominantly used in the everyday enterprise, like Python, C++, your JS.
Yeah, this is one of the things for me personally. Someone who's primarily doing Python, a bit of JavaScript for the front end, whatever, stuff, just light stuff that I can do, but I cannot do any backend stuff with JavaScript. Certainly not any of the big frameworks like React or so. So I'm more into Python actually, because I'm coming from a data analyst background, therefore more familiar with Python, and I need that accessibility with multiple languages. On ETH, you have not only Solidity, actually, you have also something called Viper, and Viper is Python. So me knowing Python, I can write EVM smart contracts just from a syntax. Like I don't know how to write one because you need skills to this, but from a code perspective, I could have an easier entry into this, where hooks is very focused on, I think it's C++, or is it C? I think it's even C. So very, very steep learning curve. Like I'm straight up, I'm not going to learn C. Like I'm not going to learn C for hooks. I need to wait for a better solution. Like I think they're going to do a TypeScript-like solution where you can write hooks in a JavaScript like language. TypeScript is very much like JavaScript. That would be okay for me, even though it would be in a Python, but it's okay for me. Like I still could go into this, but C is I will not learn C for that. But something else I want to definitely touch on this because you mentioned it is what did you say? Oh, the cost structure. Yeah, hooks, for example, going to be way more expensive to run on a ledger. Like this was, I pinned it up, by the way, for the whole audience. Pin it up at the top. We had with the XRPL Foundation, we had a community call a couple months ago. I think it was 2 months ago, with Richard, with Wietse, with Scott from Evernote, and Bojack. So we had a bunch of folks from basically all the brain power around hooks and Evernote. I can highly recommend listening to this recording. It's on YouTube. I linked it up at the top. Daniel and me were interviewing those folks, and one of the things that I found really interesting from Evernote, from Scott's perspective, he was not concerned, but he brought a really good point: is that the burning rate of XRP on the hook sidechain going to be much higher. It was something he was very open, not critical about, but he was just curious how it's going to play out. He said hooks are much more expensive to execute, so the fees higher, and fees are being burned. So he said we burn with hooks much faster through XRP, so to speak. You need more XRP to operate, and yeah, he was just curious how this is going to play out. I was also actually quite not shocked or something, but I did not have really on my mind. Oh yeah, sure, they have a higher burn actually than normal transactions, and actually way more higher. He said I think 100x fold and sometimes 1000x fold to compared to normal transactions, which is still very very low. It's still very low, but much higher, of course. So yeah.
Yeah, still very low, comparable to like your EVM sidechain.
Yes.
Sorry, Shramos, welcome up, man. Go ahead, ask a question, and Karma, welcome up also if you would like to speak.
Is this Karma from Karma Coverage?
Yeah, but give me a second. I'm still reading messages.
You're fine. Don't worry. Shramos, go ahead, man. You were a little low. It was hard to hear you. Shramos, you there?
I think he rugged.
Oh.
Yep, he rugged. Yeah, so Karma, for example, just to come to, so for ZOM, this was also part of the discussion. I asked Wietse, how are we going to make sure that folks are going to be safe around hooks, and when they interact with hooks, what will ZOM do? Of course, I just know that they have limited possibilities, but he said that with ZOM they're gonna only have audited smart contracts, therefore hooks, available. And if you have an app that is for hooks, then I think what he said is it would need to be audited or something. Like or they would audit it. I don't know, but they would need to make sure, of course, that it is not malicious. They will have a bunch of hooks that they already developed, and it's going to be for the public to use. Like I think what was it? The blacklist, the firewall hook, um, the savings hook, and some other stuff. They're gonna have this already prepared for folks to install on their accounts. But I asked him, hey, if I do an app, if I do a hook, can I just put it on Zum? And they said, of course not. I would need to go through the process because hey, it could be a malicious hook.
Hey guys, can we talk about the status of XRP? I'm interested.
Can we speak about the what was it?
XRP status.
Yes.
You say the status?
Yes, status.
In what manner do you are you asking the status of the XRP ledger? It's online. If you were asking if it's like on or off, 'cause it's part of status. Did he rug again?
No, I think he's there but not speaking.
No, I don't hear anybody.
Yeah.
Shromos, are you
Hello,
there?
do you hear me?
Yes.
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh.
What do you want to talk about?
Correct.
My friend is the owner of Civital. Civital is a big company, and they say that XRP used by institution, and XRP is not a security, and all this lawsuit was a drama. Okay, guys. The lawsuit with the SEC, it was drama to take the public out of XRP.
Yeah, I hear you, Shwamos, and so in this conversation, we really try and talk the technical aspects, right? The actual actions.
But
that
you
are performing
you
on-
guys, why you are muting me?
We're not
I
muting
didn't
you.
mute you.
You are muting yourself because you have a bad connection.
No, I have fast connection. I'm in Dubai, man.
That's great. Well, so back to what I was saying. So we really try and talk to the technical aspects.
Yeah, but
of
because
the
because
XRP ledger. And so
you mislead the public, and you tell them that XRP is a security. This is what you are doing. You are misleading people.
Why are you trolling? This is plain trolling, dude.
yeah, this is clearly all right. Well, I'm sorry, my friend. You are more than welcome to stay in the space if you would like to learn more about.
No, but don't mislead people.
We're not misleading people. Who says that it's a
Yeah,
security?
because people can lose money
They're
because of you.
definitely not misleading people. They're actually trying to educate the
All
public
of us-
about the ledger and the
Don't-
use cases for it.
Don't feed the
Yeah.
troll.
All of us here on the stage, are pretty much invested into the XRP ledger, either with, doing stuff, building stuff, educating people, showing up. So nobody's.
I've seen him in multiple conversations. I've seen him in Karma Space talk multiple times. I don't know why he felt the need to do that, but it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, back to what we were talking about with the XRP ledger and hooks. There was something that you brought up that I find as a dynamic that's going to play out in the side chain, the hook side chain, right? EXRP, which will be the wrapped version of the XRP, or should I say issued version of the XRP that'll exist on the hook side chain. That's a huge deflationary dynamic that I think also, maybe we're not really thinking too much about when we know the transactions are low, and still with the hooks, the transaction cost will still be low, but somewhere upwards of 100 to 1,000 times more per transaction really does add up in the end of the day. If it's even being used at this point, there would be more transactions also be occurring. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic I think we're going to see play out. What do you think, Vet? Should I let him up one more time, or what's the vote? What's the consensus here?
Is he requesting?
Correct. He left. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, Zara gave the thumbs down.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I needed. Yeah, I thought I thank you for bringing that up though, Vet, because it was something that I haven't thought about too much until that moment you brought it up. I knew there would be a deflationary aspect, especially because there's not going to be much XRP that exists there from the burn to mint dynamic that occurs, right? It really only makes sense if you're going to get some sort of use case or utility. Maybe some people will experiment with some XRP they want to just mess around with and see how the network is. But for the most part, I think it makes sense for people bringing it there for the use case and utility behind it, which it's just it's very interesting.
I agree.
Ignore me though, because I got completely thrown off of my train of thought because of that guy that had came up.
Schwamos.
Shromosh, who is back.
He-
Sorry, Shromosh. Zera gave you the thumbs down, man. That's all you need to get kicked into the pit, unfortunately. But Shellfish, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that he's back on speaker for me, so I don't know.
But Schwamos, I will tell you, XRP is not a security. We are with you, brother.
Correct. We are with you there. Sarah, please go ahead and speak. And I let him up. I'm gonna give him a second chance. We'll see.
All right.
Hopefully he behaves. But Sarah, you had your hand up. Please feel free to speak.
Yeah, no, I had just a quick question. I don't know if it's a silly one, but so the side chain, right? What with it's got the hooks capability, but why couldn't that just been built onto the main chain? Why did it have to all be on a separate side chain?
It's a good question.
It is a very good question, and I think if you bet you want to take that, you can answer it.
No,
if
I
you
mean
want, man.
because there's no good answer.
I think if you would have asked Sweetsay that question, he would have said, "Yeah, me too. I wish it was on the main net also." Because it really just comes down to the fact that we cannot get enough consensus between all of those who make up the majority on the XRP ledger to not only vote on the amendments to upgrade them, but to also look into them, right? Because it's never safe to do an upgrade, especially if you're a party that's not reading the code and reference it and back checking it and making sure that everything you're going to update into the network. And so this kind of push to do a sidechain, which I think makes sense in multiple dynamics, because I think many sidechains will exist tethered to the XRP ledger, and in general, I think there will be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of sidechains that will exist one day. But the push for him was the fact that we don't know if we'll ever get hooks on the mainnet, and so we're not going to wait around for it. And not that hook sidechain is also centralized, because if I'm not mistaken, it's starting with, what was it, 12 or 25 different validators that are making up the majority, right, Bet?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. Yeah, I think this is.
It was like 23 or something like that. It was a good amount.
Yeah.
It was a good amount.
Yeah.
And so, even in that sense, it's kind of starting off in a decentralized format comparable to the XRP ledger a couple of years ago. So I think that's really cool. But it's just this push to want the ability to have and then AMM, right? If the AMM number gets voted in, that's also something that could go into a sidechain. It could be its own AMM sidechain, or it could be in the hook sidechain. I mean, there's all different types of possibilities. What are your thoughts on that, Zara? Okay, cool, heart. Shramos, man, Redemption. Would you like to speak? Is he on stage for you guys, or is it
He's
just
for me
running
as a
for me?
speaker, but he's not talking.
Yeah, he's it shows his mic open though, so he may be trying to speak and it's just not allowing him for some reason.
It does show the same for me. Yeah.
He has bad reception, I think. But
Combination of Dubai is not treating him nice. I heard. I think that's what.
I mean, I said no. I said you have bad connection, and he said no. I'm in Dubai. Yeah, as if that would be like by default mean like always 100% connection everywhere.
Well, I would say that means the latency is connected to the across the world. No matter what, you're not going to have the best connection.
Yeah,
across the world.
But he's gone now. But mic check for Karma from Karma Coverage.
You there, Karma?
I like that Karma from Karma Coverage.
You're making him seem like a Twitter celebrity.
Exactly.
Karma, can we have your autograph?
Karma, are you there?
Karma.
Man, people are coming up and going AFK to me on me.
Something else is pretty funny. Like a lemur. I think you said this, Death Ranger. Lemur on the rocks sounds like a drink.
Does sound like a drink.
It does actually sound like a drink.
Yeah.
Maybe if we ever have an XRP meetup,
Lemur on the rock.
meetup, we could have that lemur on the rock.
No. That's the code. How do you know who each other are without telling us who each other are? You walk over to the table, you say, "Is that a lemur on the rocks?" Everyone's gonna say, "No." What is that? Oh yeah, you have a good one. Don't worry about that. That's exactly it.
No, I'm dealing with.
Sorry.
I'm dealing with stupid people moving and stuff. Nothing makes sense.
Just kick them, Karma. Just kick them.
The only thing that makes sense is nothing that makes sense.
Karma, just kick them. Don't mess with them.
But not to the curb.
Yeah, not to the curb.
Well, the curb is pretty much where they're going. So.
Yeah, Karma is legendary for the curb memes.
I don't even know what you meant by that.
I did. That was enough.
Yeah.
You guys are something.
Okay, while Karma from Karma Coverage cannot speak, you can move on.
I got an idea. How about so if I'm a newbie, because this is like one of the things that Woj Jake is trying to help people out that are just so inexperienced like myself in setting it up. So you can run it off of your own PC at home, correct? You just need to get service with AWS or the like, right?
So now you're talking about Evernote, which I was just about to go into.
See, I'm just on I'm on the same wavelength. That's all.
Great, I love that. But you're speaking about hosting a node for Evernote, acting as a host on the platform. I really should say it's
yes,
your own.
sir. Yes, sir.
So, there's an interesting thing to think about the way that Evernote works with the Hot Pocket, which is the protocol. Each host is really essentially its own blockchain, and all of these separated hosts are interconnected, communicating with each other. Now, the reason that Evernote is so significant to the XRP ledger and really utilizes the XRP ledger is the hooks. So the ability for a single transaction to be able to open up multiple hosts in the form of a representation NFT is what gives Evernote its kind of decentralized ability from an ability. And I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought for a second. I was looking at something. But for the applications that may be ran, whether it be something like a smart contract application or even your Web 2 application, to be able to be hosted in a decentralized format with one click, up to 32 different multi-signers or applications could essentially be opened up and ran on these Evernote hosting platforms. And so you're not at risk as a single counterparty. Say, you know that one host is hosting on AWS, and another host is hosting on Linode, and another host is hosting on Hertz in Germany, right? You can have confidence that even if one of these hosts go down because of the intranet or the servers that they're renting from or using, that your application will still actually be alive and online. I think that's just the one interesting example, but there are many that add into the fact that you could decentralize an application that could be hosted. Now, just like you were saying, Shellfish, if you were to host one, you wouldn't want to do it on your own computer. As much as it does require a low amount of CPU and resources, that still means your computer is going to be on 24/7, 7 days a week running, and this will eventually burn out your hardware. You can rent something simple, a server or a VPS, virtual private server from Linode, charges $20 a month, or I think you can even get one for $10 a month, and be able to host an Evernote. The lower that you pay, or the less CPU, RAM, hard drive, which I don't think you need much of. Um, it, this all plays into how many applications can your host handle at once. And so for each application that will be running on Evernode as a host, you'll be paid Evers. And so this is where the token dynamic comes into play. And if you think of things like Codius, one of the largest changes in that dynamic is that Codius was a smart contract hosting platform that did not have any economy to it. Where Evernode comes into play is you as a host will be able to get paid for providing your CPU, your RAM, all of the hardware that you're either renting or running from your own server to those who want to run those applications. And I spoke a lot there, so please feel free to ask any questions of any of the information you had.
I was just trying to put it into, or ask the question into simplest form. So if there's any other people that were new that were afraid to talk, I kind of tried to throw it out there.
No, you're fine. And going back to Evernode, I really should talk about what Evernode is in general, right? Because Evernode is a new generation. This is really the way I want to put it. Way to run smart contracts, and so the largest difference from an EVM-based smart contract is it's not running off of Solidity. Although I think you can write an EVM smart contract in Solidity if you wanted to. Double check me on that, Vet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. You would just run the EVM smart contract as an application on the host. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that works. But it is a C++ based format. Same thing as hooks, so C++, Python, JS, and I think this will also open up the doors to enterprise being able to utilize these types of smart contract applications where they don't have to go out and learn about Solidity, which I don't know. I don't know a handful of highly advanced Solidity devs. I mean, it's very rare. It's still a very new language, and there's possibility that who knows if it sticks around for the next 15 years or so. You there, Vet?
Yeah, I'm there.
Save me, I'm rambling.
No, you're 100% right. Yeah, I think it's definitely the case. And the cool thing with Evernote indeed is that you can actually do EVM stuff as well. So you have a solution right there too. And I think another one is that as soon as you have Evernote in one chain, you can utilize it, I guess, everywhere too, to a certain degree and interact with it. You just needed to have it being hosted somewhere, essentially, like one chain. That then would be the hook side chain, and you can use it somewhere else. And yeah, I like what you said with it's incentivized as well. So if you are a host, you have potentially the outlook of payments. If all these things will play out and folks renting smart contract space or whatever you want to call it, slots on your host, that's going to be really interesting. I think that the another thing that's going to be really interesting with hooks, with the sidechain for XRP, is going to be how you bridge to it and how you bridge back. And with all the conversation aside that we had, is I guess it kind of looks like we're going towards the what is it? The side of having a centralized exchange. I don't know which one, maybe GitHub, that provides you a pair where you can go, where you can sell XRP, get sidechain XRP, and or sell sidechain XRP and buy real XRP or main chain XRP. I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic. Why is it going to be an interesting dynamic? Because I can totally see a lot of folks trying to market make or to speculate, of course, on certain things. They say, oh, if I buy this, and I could sell something else, or what's going to be the ratio? Should I bridge over and then wait that the ratio is pumping, and then you sell your sidechain XRP for real XRP? And so I can totally see that arbitraging, that will play out massively. But maybe Karma from Karma Coverage can talk more about arbitrage.
I'll take that as a no.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I can. Sorry, I was listening.
Oh yeah, we just.
No, you're good. You don't have to speak if you want. Don't feel pressured by that.
Oh yeah, you don't have to.
No, arbitrage is cool. That's where your pricing mechanisms come in.
Do you see this playing out with the hook sidechain where arbitrage between, balance?
Yeah.
Okay, sidechain XRP and main chain XRP.
Yeah, that makes sense. You would expect that, to be honest.
Are you gonna do anything on the hook sidechain, Karma? Or you plan to look what's possible?
I want to. I need to reach out to those guys, and because I've got some option stuff that I think is very doable. It's obviously doable.
Who would you reach out to?
Richard.
No.
Is who Weezy told.
I recommend you to reach out to Bojack, because he's actually approaching people like on Twitter saying, hey, because he's very well connected and he knows a bunch of stuff. He says, hey, if you want to talk about business opportunities on the hook sidechain, please hit me up. And I think you and him could have a great conversation. So Bojack.
I mean, if he wants to, I could easily have a good conversation with him. We've spoken many times.
Yeah, he would be interested.
And I mean, it makes sense. I just the thing is, maybe I'm a little too cautious, but I've shared things in the past that sometimes I'm now a little more hesitant to share things. And if you let somebody know how to do, like, say, derivatives, this is a big thing, and I haven't seen anybody else really articulate how to do it. So yeah, I'm
you don't
hesitant.
You don't want somebody to steal your idea. I mean, that's totally understandable. But I mean, you can still, on a high level, talk with him.
Yeah, I think he gets it. I'm not sure if I've totally explained everything to him, but yeah, I've noticed his attitude changing in the last few days. Like he seems like he's trying to reach out to people.
Yes, yeah, definitely do that.
AI Chimp, welcome up, man. Go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I just had a question about Evernode. Is it going to be to where you can actually set up private instances on that side chain for institutional use, or how does that work? And also, is it like cyclical validation or is it acyclical validation?
I think it's acyclical, but I'm not 100% sure because
between validation though, between what? Between the two ledgers, between Evernode and the XRP hook sidechain?
Yeah, I think this is what you mean. Because every hot pocket is its own consensus mechanism.
Correct. Yeah. There is a cryptographic proof going back and forth between the two networks.
Okay, so is it like similar to proto danksharding, where like you're just zippering it up, and is it like random allocation of that validation data to the separate nodes, or are you going to have like assigned validation based on certain industries? Or
well, Evernode wouldn't be providing validation of transactions on the network of the hook sidechain, at least. So Evernode is a smart contract hosting platform. Every single one of the hosts are essentially its own blockchain, right? Its own ledger. And so the dynamic what they've set up is with Hotpocket is that it requires the XRP ledger, the hook sidechain, to have a hooks transaction that goes off that instills a NFT that Evernode uses to consider you a host. And so that would be where the validation would be done for at least the host to prove that they are a host and have have a hosting right, an NFT right, provable. But when it comes to the actual validations, that would still be done by the XRP Ledger's consensus methodology, which is the Federated Byzantine Agreement. And so the Hook sidechain is starting with, I think it's like 23 to 30. I'm going to just give it a variable number of participants that are going to be part of that overlap.
Okay, so it's kind of operating almost similarly to Quorum in that you could have, private instances for businesses that don't necessarily want to be sharing all of that data, or would it all be validated publicly?
No, I mean, I wouldn't compare it to Corium because Corium is more so like a copy and paste of the Tendermint SDK from Cosmos, but very similar in that sense. Yes, you could run an application on an Evernote smart contract, and here's where the benefit comes into it, is because if you want to be able to do that in a decentralized manner, from one single Hooks transaction on the XRP ledger, you can execute your application to exist on 32 different Evernote hosts. So you can really spread your application out, and without beyond that. Karma, you were the one that brought that up as an idea where you could execute another transaction. Maybe I think it was you, but I spoke to somebody about it where you can execute another transaction after that and actually do another 32 hosts that would be able to be applicable. I think you just need another wallet. I forgot what it was that we were talking about, but really, I mean, if you really want to go crazy and host the application all over the place. However, you have to pay for that application that's being hosted in the form of Evers, which would be paid to the Evernote host.
Okay, sick.
But inside of the application, I mean, you can have all of your information could be cryptographically private. Yeah, it doesn't say anybody should need to know what's going on in there.
All right, so I guess then my last question would just be in terms of the reward function, as well as the cost of operation. Do you know what it would be comparable to at the moment?
So very low amount of CPU, RAM, hardware that's actually needed. But the more hardware you have, the larger the host is, and the more applications you can have on it. Now, the variable pay for Evers is actually what's the best way to put it? A discoverable variable. So all of the Evernodes that'll be providing CPU and RAM, right, will be able to charge their own price for it. And so, dependent on the variable price of what you're willing to pay, would be which host that you would really want to choose from. And so, depending on what somebody is, right, maybe somebody has less RAM but more CPU, and that's what you want, or you have an application that's huge and you need terabytes worth of information, and that host has terabytes worth of information to get stored. I think there are a lot of different maybe metrics that could probably go into that, so I don't want to even give any answer. But the dynamic is if you are a host, you are being paid for those who would be running applications on your host platform.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely look through the white paper. Thank you for that. Do a little more research, but it doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, it's really cool, and like we were saying before, I don't think you were in the space, but one of the biggest dynamics I think that are going to play into it from an enterprise standpoint is that the hooks themselves and the Evernode's sidechain really can be written. Contracts applications could be written in Solidity, C++, Python, JS, right? So there, Rust. There is a huge variable that could go into running applications on top of this, or smart contracts on top of the hosting platform. And Kings, I saw you on mute. Oh, never mind. I think he left. But NY and Songbird, man, you guys haven't spoken yet. If either of you guys would like to ask anything or just speak about anything. Songbirdable, you there?
Yeah, sorry. Nothing to ask right this second, but definitely listening at the moment.
Cool. Thank you for coming to the space. What about you, NY?
What's up, Death? How are you?
I am well, man. I am well today. How about yourself? Although it's been raining out for us all day.
Yeah, it's kind of dark over here. No, everything's been good, man. I'm excited to see people releasing what they're building on Evernote. I know Wojak has been like you said, he's been active in the community, trying to get people to test and stuff like that. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think the first couple of use cases, and I already know people who are building these contracts, that we'll see in Evernode is Oracle services being provided. So because you start thinking about, right, that how we were talking about the hook sidechain EXRP and XRP being able to be a tradable pair, and then EXRP USD and whatever the variables could be that exist on any sort of exchange. Um, where does the price feed come in from other than just on that exchange? And I think running an Oracle on Evernode, where somebody could also open up their own decentralized exchange application on Evernode. And so two different hosting applications, right? One running an Oracle service pulling the API data from other exchanges, and then another application being your decentralized exchange. I think that's pretty cool. And you could host this decentralized exchange with up to 32 different multi-sig accounts. So maybe it's you and, I don't know, 5 other people, at least try and make it somewhat more decentralized as much as possible. I think it's a cool aspect. But then even further than that, if you really wanted to, you could make the exchange, then you could make the Oracle contract, and then you could build a DAO, and then think of a way to hand out the aspects of maybe tokens that have voting power in a DAO, not selling them, but handing them out. And then you could actually have a DAO that could actually control the exchange, which is hooked up to the Oracle service. Just all of these things just went through my mind. I'm sorry. But all doable in a very decentralized manner and on Evernote. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Well, Death, have you looked at the XLS-38 and like all the bridge type stuff with the witness servers?
Yeah, it's very interesting. The witness server, yeah.
So what you're saying? Well, yeah, what Death is saying makes me think of that kind of thing.
Are you running?
Right?
Are you gonna run a witness server?
Well, when I was reading through it, I was thinking, this witness server could be a very reasonable operation for like a karma coverage type of service to run, right? Because karma coverage wouldn't care about the money or whatever the assets are, right? Karma coverage would only be there to effectively witness whatever the users wanted to do. So yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, and going into the XLS-38, this is really, if exchanges were willing to take it upon themselves, this could really benefit a bridge from one network to the next rather than the burn to mint that we have at the moment. And it's all we're going to have at the moment for the hook side chain, because Wheaty doesn't really want anything, and I don't blame him, to do with the custody aspect. Going forward, I mean, short term, we could just use like something like a Bitstamp today, but the question is everyone going to have the KYC then that wants to use that? It would probably be the smart thing to do, and I already know I wouldn't be allowed to. I am excited about XLS-40 though. There's a lot of these updated standards or XRP Ledger standards that are being introduced.
Well,
yeah, is there any page that that's easy to find that could be shown to the community where they could find all of the introduced XLS update thoughts, at least, and even if they're not amendments, but just what's been introduced?
yeah.
You just go.
Yeah, there is a GitHub page. I can post it. I can definitely do that.
What'd you say, Carmen?
For me, like I would go to GitHub. It's not the most user friendly, but at least you can maybe I sound old, but like print things out and then, take your time to read it.
That's actually good. Yeah, that's a good approach.
Well, it's definitely the best way to observe all of what is occurring. Right? Like the details of what would be in the push request. But yeah, like just like a simple like web page where it just has basically like XLS 30, right? And it just says what it is, and then it's like XLS 30 30. Man, my brain is just fried. 38, and then like XLS 40 underneath it, like which is like a simple description.
I think the biggest thing in the witness servers is, the witness servers are effectively oracles, right? So if you're running a service that has a need for information to bridge between ledger A and ledger B, there's multiple ways of trying to do this. Flare's got some with the F assets. There's like swaps and AMMs and stuff, but the way that XLS 38 does it as well makes a
Hey, Karma,
opportunity.
I have a question for you. Are you interested in XLM?
Not so much, and mostly because, and this might sound bad, but the Jed guy I wouldn't want to do business or be involved in a project with him after looking at how he's behaved multiple times.
Yeah,
That's just
David certainly never speaks highly of him.
No, you know what's funny is, and I just talked to my mother today, and she said the same thing. She's like, if you don't have anything good to say, so when I was at the Apex thing and I was talking to David about the AMMs, and then somebody in the conversation was like, hey, so whatever about something, asked him about Jed selling, I think XRP or what have you. And David was like, yeah, well, my mother told me if you don't have anything good to say, just don't say anything at all. And like my mother told me exactly the same thing. So I thought that was funny. That's probably a good summation of my XLM opinion. Yeah.
So you all
Not that I think technology is bad. I think they've done some very interesting things with the technology that are viable and yeah, like good work. But and I figured that what's his name would get sort of pushed out, which apparently has already happened. So
I see. By the way, Karma, is your profile picture the OG Karma coverage profile picture? Has this?
well, I don't know what an
No.
OG
So has this been
Like, is
always
that
your
the
profile?
original picture for
Yeah.
yourself? I don't think it is.
I don't know. How would you determine that?
Well,
Yeah, it's
Karma,
this.
it's very
Well,
straightforward.
no, like how many years have you had it? Have you ever had a different picture before? Is what he's asking.
The only other thing, I don't actually remember the picture, but I was Finsin, FINSIN, initially in the crypto community, but no, ever since I switched over to the Karma coverage,
Well, that's the name.
it's the same.
That's the name, but the profile picture of the lemur.
Yeah, it's the same.
Also, always been the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
see,
never.
This is what I mean.
Really,
This is what I mean.
no,
Interesting.
no, yeah, actually, what's his name? Very much unfortunately passed away. That was tragic. I still feel bad about that, but just gosh, terrible. And but yeah, he had changed his profile over the years, and he was saying, he's like, dude, you've always had the same name and picture. He didn't know me as FinCin. He only ever knew me as Karma Coverage. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, whatever.
Okay, that's cool actually. Well, not bad. Always the same profile picture.
Well, the funny thing was he was expressing some dismay, if you will, because he had changed his profile picture and his name throughout the years, right? And so every time he was effectively hitting the restart button, and you know, there's some amount of value and longevity
100%.
was his.
Yeah, that's why I need to return back to the mushroom profile picture.
Yes. Great days indeed. Well, we're right at that 5 o'clock mark. I think I'm going to close it up here. Also, by the way, everyone, I cannot send anybody a direct message and thank you guys for coming to the space. Although I love everyone who came up, especially came up and speak. I'm limited again. I guess I didn't realize when I sent so many invites out to try and get people in the space that I kind of messed myself up there. But I really do thank everybody for coming to the space today. It was jam packed of great information, Vet. I mean, we went pretty hard there on the Evernode, the XRP Ledger sidechain, hooks, and XRP Ledger. But we'll be back tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. I think I'm going to bring up the same topics, just keep it Evernode, XRP Ledger, hooks related. So if anything pops in anybody's mind and wants to come in and ask it tomorrow, please feel free to do so. I don't know, Karma, if you want to host a space or somebody wants to host a space afterwards, I will hop in there and I'll hang out with you guys as well. But I love everyone and I hope everybody has a good rest.
Thank you, Death
No,
Ranger.
I'll space up here in a few. But yeah, no, appreciate everything. Thanks, Death.
Awesome. Well,
Great
have a good
space
rest
as
of the night,
always.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Death.
Yeah, thank you. I will see you guys in a little bit.